are listening to the EPT Works Listen, Love, Give podcast. Hi, I'm Dr. Annette Cargioli, the Forgiveness Doctor. I'm here to help you create phenomenal health, happiness, and new life with energy, intuition, and forgiveness. EPT is short for Emotional Polarity Technique, an innovative, holistic emotional therapy that will change your life for good. You can subscribe to this podcast, get free EPT training at eptworks.com, and like us on Facebook. Hi, everyone. Today's podcast is Chapter 4 from my new book, The Forgiveness Doctor, and the title is Tools of EPT, Magnets, Muscle Testing, Two-Pointing, Suds, and Charts. Now that we've explored the overall look of EPT, I want to share the details of the tools we use in EPT. We're going to get technical in this chapter, showing how it's done and why it works. If you are new to EPT, feel free to skim this section and come back to it when you're ready to learn the procedure. I've included all the nuts and bolts, so as you become more and more proficient in EPT, you will be able to use this chapter as a resource and a reminder. Magnets. One of the goals of EPT is to change uncomfortable emotional reactions in the body so you can feel better. Magnets assist in making that possible by changing the electromagnetic and biochemical programming of an emotional event. Not only do you feel better, you open up to possibilities of rewriting your life script the way you would like to live it. When I first learned about them, I wanted to run. Magnets? Were these two really serious? Before I ever learned to use muscle testing, I took a training from Doctors Richard and Mary Broingmeyer. They had a very successful holistic clinic in Paducah, Kentucky. People traveled from all over the country to spend a week or two at the Broingmeyers clinic to be healed. In addition to their successful clinic, the Broingmeyers also did research with magnet diagnostics and magnet healing. They taught me about the effects of magnets on living tissue and how to use magnetic energy, North and South Pole, to do magnetic energy replacement therapy on the body. The Broingmeyers were pioneering the field of magnetic diagnostic and healing way back in the 1970s. Much of their work was based on previous scientific research documented in the 1940s and 50s by Albert Roy Davis and Walter C. Rawls, Jr. Davis and Rawls published a few books heralding their magnet research: The Magnetic Blueprint of Life, The Rainbow in Your Hands, The Magnetic Effect, and Magnetism and Its Effects on the Living System. At first biomagnetics training, Dr. Richard Broingmeyer demonstrated the body's responsiveness to magnetic energy. He also reinforced basic scientific concepts about how cells operate through magnetism of positive and negative ions. Magnetic energy affects the pH, or potential hydrogen, of the cell. The hydrogen ion is charged positive. When you put South Pole energy over the body, you increase the hydrogen ion concentration and decrease oxygen ion concentration. When you put North Pole energy over the body, you decrease the hydrogen ion concentration and increase oxygen ion concentration. Just like a North Pole magnet will repel another North Pole magnet, yet attract a South Pole magnet, the positive and negative charged ions in the body's cells repel and attract each other based on the magnetic frequency. The Broingmeyers taught that by using magnetic energy, actual magnets, you can change the body's physiology and improve health. Since the body's natural electrical energy is magnetic in nature, rare earth magnets can change the biochemistry and pH, or potential hydrogen. Over the 20-plus years I have been using magnets and healing the body, I have been awed by the usefulness of this simple, natural energy, as well as its power to redirect electromagnetic as well as biochemical energy in the body, resulting in improved body function and better health. Magnetic energy is the highest frequency energy on Earth. Rare earth magnets have measurably different strengths. Although all living organisms hold magnetic energy, the magnetic energy existing in the human body is a much lower frequency than the frequency of a rare earth magnet. Because of this difference in magnetic frequency, a rare earth magnet of higher strength can interrupt or interfere with the body's current molecular magnetic frequency, influencing tissue pH, oxygen levels, pain, and other microscopic reactions. The following chart lists scientifically documented tissue and organ reactions. North Pole energies vasoconstrict, increase alkalinity, act to sedate or inhibit pain, decrease activity, increase potassium ions, decrease abnormal calcium ions, and increase oxygen. South Pole energies vasodilate, increase acidity, stimulate, increase tissue activity, increases sodium, and decreases oxygen. Emotional polarity technique uses muscle testing to determine whether North or South Pole energy is strengthening for the body. Two 2x6 magnet pads, each containing 14 neodymium disc magnets, are utilized in the EPT body and energy field correction procedure. The magnet pads are colored green on the side emitting North Pole energy and red on the side emitting South Pole energy. Knowledge of polarity, positive or negative, helps coordinate the target positive or negative ions. Remember step 3, fix it, our basic EPT correction procedure? We always briefly place one magnet pad over an organ or body area and one magnet pad over the forehead, also referred to as emotional points in EPT, and based on Chinese meridians. This magnet body placement is accompanied by breathing and simple body work, gently squeezing the head together on inhalation to balance the right and left hemispheres of the brain. This strategic body placement of magnets actually creates a strong, interrupting electromagnetic connection from the brain to the body organ. I like to think of it raising the frequency of the electromagnetic current already existing between the brain and the body. Remember, the strength of the magnet is much higher than the strength of the electromagnetic energy of the body. The magnet with the higher frequency will automatically influence the magnet of lower strength, causing it to move in the direction of the higher strength magnetic energy. The Browing-Myers tested body organs with magnets. Based on known tissue reactions to North and South Pole energies, they could determine your symptoms or disease state by determining the magnetic energy, North Pole or South Pole, of each organ. This was usually determined by the use of a magnet and a leg length test. The person being tested would lie on his back with the practitioner at his feet. The practitioner would balance the feet so that the heels were even. A magnet would then be placed over an organ, such as the liver. One leg appearing to shorten, heels becoming uneven, would indicate the body pulling away from the magnetic energy over the liver. Opposite magnetic energy attracts, and like magnetic energy repels. If the body pulls away from a North Pole magnet placed over the liver, it would indicate the liver was also resonating more in North Pole energy. If the liver or any organ is balanced and healthy, it should not react at all to the brief placement of a magnet. If a magnet is held over healthy or unhealthy tissue for extended amounts of time, it will change the polarity of the tissue, for better or worse. I was a young woman struggling with extra weight when I was tested with magnets by Dr. Browing-Myers. My thyroid tested as having slow or sluggish energy because it reacted to North Pole magnet. To balance my thyroid, I used South Pole energy replacement therapy over my thyroid every night for a few hours. I was determined to change my thyroid if possible. I knew that a slow thyroid could make it difficult for me to lose weight. I wanted to be one of those people who don't ever have weight problems. About a month after using the South Pole energy over my thyroid practically daily, a very odd thing occurred. I was working as an actress in a commercial shoot. My job was to face the camera and act like I was getting a group to pose for a family picture. Then I had to raise the camera and snap the flash. The director would say, "Action," and I would start my routine. But when I raised the camera to take the picture, the flash would go off as it passed my throat area. I couldn't get it to flash when I pushed the button. I must have tried to get this flash to work at least 5 or 6 times. It just kept going off automatically as I passed the camera in front of my throat area. The director got frustrated with me because he tried the flash and it worked for him. A crew member finally went and got another camera, and the same thing happened to me over again. The crew member studied my neck and noticed a necklace. He asked me, "Is there any chance your necklace is a magnet?" I had a memory flash of all the nights I sat watching TV with a South Pole magnet over my thyroid, determined to never be fat again. That's when it clicked for me. My necklace wasn't a magnet. My thyroid was. Of course, I didn't tell them that. I shrugged my shoulders and looked as bewildered as everyone else. They ended up completely removing the flash from the camera for my shoot. I decided that since the magnet had changed my thyroid enough to set off a camera flash, maybe I wouldn't use it anymore. Besides realizing the power of living tissue to take on magnetic energy, I never did get fat, nor did I ever have a problem with weight. Here's magnet precautions. Do not use magnets on anyone with a pacemaker. Keep magnets clear of electronic devices and credit cards. Keep magnets clear of computers or handheld computer devices. The next tool is muscle testing. The first time I saw muscle testing demonstrated was in 1980, my freshman year of chiropractic college. I was attending a technique seminar outside of the school. Dr. George Goodhart was teaching applied kinesiology to a room full of about 100 or so chiropractors and students. Applied kinesiology is a diagnostic and healing technique that involves muscle testing all the muscles in the body. Depending on what muscles were weak or strong, Dr. Goodhart would determine exactly what systems in the body were in need of nutritional and energetic support. Dr. Goodhart was the first to use muscle testing to demonstrate and measure the body's responsiveness at a cellular level, as demonstrated in the strong and weak muscle responses seen in his applied kinesiological exams. Dr. Goodhart's discoveries have become so widespread and well-respected that many more adaptations of muscle response testing have become commonplace within the world of alternative medicine. Muscle testing is a non-invasive way of evaluating the body's imbalances. A few books on the subject of muscle testing include Your Body Doesn't Lie, Unlock the Power of Your Natural Energy by John Diamond, medical doctor. Your Body Can Talk, How to Use Simple Muscle Testing for Health and Well-Being by Susan Levy, doctor of chiropractic. Power versus Force by David Hawkins, MD. Touch for Health by John Thie, doctor of chiropractic. I have to admit, muscle testing was the most challenging tool for me to learn. I just thought it looked ridiculous, and I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of patients. I was studying the work of Dr. Dick Versendahl. He had helped thousands of people regain their health using contact reflex analysis, or CRA, to determine their nutritional needs. I had to learn to muscle test in order to be effective with contact reflex analysis. I really wanted to help people more with nutrition, and muscle testing was an incredible tool to discover specific nutritional needs for very sick people. Even though I was beginning to help more people with nutrition and CRA, I still felt very insecure with my skill of muscle testing. I decided to intently pray about this. I asked God to help me to muscle test like Dr. Versendahl, and if I couldn't do it, I would give it up completely. My muscle testing skill improved almost immediately. Muscle testing is a difficult skill to acquire. Having a firm intention to acquire it is essential. It has become an invaluable resource in my holistic practice and in utilizing emotional polarity technique. I have coached so many students who wanted to acquire this skill. My advice is always, decide you can do it, pray for help, and practice intently. Muscle testing is an invaluable tool that, once learned, is used to access information from your own personal EPT search engine, your brain and consciousness. There is no doubt that your body physiology responds to subtle shift in thought. Think of a time you were frightened and notice how your body changes. Think about an arousing sexual thought and notice how your body changes. In EPT, muscle testing is used to measure your body's response to thoughts, ideas, and memories. Positive memories, such as winning a big game or falling in love, have a strengthening effect on your body that can be demonstrated with muscle testing. Conversely, stressful memories, such as striking out and losing the game or your mom telling you she is divorcing your dad, have a weakening effect on your body. These responses can be demonstrated with muscle testing. Index finger testing. Place your hand palm down on a flat surface. Spread your fingers as far out as you can. For most people, thinking about a positive life experience will maintain muscle strength. As you bring this positive memory to mind, raise your index finger as high as possible while leaving your palm and other fingers flat on the table. Notice how high you can raise this finger. Return your hand to the normal position. Now, try raising your index finger again as you remember a very stressful memory. That memory will have a weakening effect on not only the muscle, but the entire energy system. Most people will experience a slight tightening while raising the index finger, with noticeable decrease in the height you can raise it. The arm swing test. Another test that demonstrates this unconscious body response is an arm swing test. For the arm swing test, you hold your right arm directly in front of you, straight out from your body. Hold your hand in a loose fist with the thumb side of your fist up. Focus your mind on a very positive memory as you slowly swing your arm toward the left side of your body as far as you can go. Notice how far you can take it. Now return your arm to the start position. Next, focus your mind on a particularly stressful memory from your life. Choose a time when you were very sad or scared. Slowly swing your arm toward the left side of your body as far as you can go. Most people notice a tightness or a lock in their shoulder that prevents them from swinging as far as they could when they were focusing on the positive memory. There is no doubt that the body responds to thought, even when we are not aware of that response. Muscle testing is a tool we use in EPT that conveniently measures the body's response. A note about applied kinesiology. These weakening and strengthening muscle responses are the quite logical and common responses that currently correlate to EPT theory, teaching, and testing. But be aware that results of muscle testing can be reversed by changing the intention of the practitioner, the tester. Some applied kinesiology used in other energy psychologies will seem reversed when compared to EPT teachings. Do not let this be a deterrent to your learning and development. Remember that this is just one effective method of communication which is mutually established with your client, and in the same agreement can be anything you want it to be. For this reason, the practitioner's intention must be crystal clear about what is the significance of a strong or weak response before performing a muscle test. In this way, there will be no question of the meaning of a positive or negative response, or as indicated in Dr. Versendal's work, the extent to which the muscle releases, halfway or fully, for example, and what the meaning of each extent will be. While muscle testing isn't 100% accurate, name one thing that is. It is an incredibly reliable tool to measure the body's reactions to thoughts, ideas, and memories. There are many different ways to test your body's response. Neither the flat hand test nor the arm swing test requires very much practice or skill to become proficient. However, neither offers real convenience or practicality. The successful use of EPT requires proficiency in muscle testing, which is taught in EPT class, where you have the opportunity to develop a good feel for the muscle response. To achieve that takes some patience and practice. And like I said, prayer and deliberate intention help too. It does become a real skill. In emotional polarity technique, there are basically two ways you may experience muscle testing. One, the EPT practitioner may use your muscle to test your pattern of body reactivity. Or two, the EPT practitioner may use their own muscle to test your pattern of body reactivity. The art of muscle testing varies from one practitioner to the next. Most EPT practitioners may favor one way of muscle testing over another. However, practitioners are trained in both forms. Form 1, muscle testing the client's muscle. Use your client's muscle to test your client's pattern of body reactivity. The client holds an arm straight out from the side of their body. Test the muscle group by gently and firmly pushing down on your client's arm at the wrist while your client resists. A normal response should be a strong muscle. Without any specific stimuli, a thought, memory, allergen, etc., a healthy person should be able to demonstrate a strong arm in resistance to a practitioner gently and firmly pushing down on their arm. The practitioner is looking for muscle reactivity that shows an indication that the body is flinching. This flinching can be very obvious to you, or it can be happening on a microscopic level. An obvious flinching would be the butterflies in your stomach when you think about speaking to a large group of people. Another example would be the nausea and repulsion to eating when you think about that time you got sick and threw up in public. Even positive memories or thoughts can give you an obvious flinching response. For example, your beloved texts you as a love message that makes your heart jump a little. Muscle testing is an amazing way to measure this subtle reactivity that is taking place, sometimes weakening the body and sometimes strengthening the body. There is a distinctly different feel in your body when someone says, "I hate you," or "I love you." Muscle testing and the energy of words. You can see the power of muscle testing by noticing the difference in your own physical being or body. Try this experiment. Repeat the word no, 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 no. How does it make your body feel? Keep saying it until you begin to notice where you feel it in your body and how it feels in your body. Is it a flowing energy or a halted energy? Now switch to the word yes, 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 yes. Say it until you can notice exactly how it feels in your body when you say that. Is it a flowing energy or a halting energy? Is it heavy or light? Now expand the words into a phrase. When you say the phrase, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you," how does that feel in your body? Where do you feel it most? Is it heavy or light? When you say the words, "I love you, I love you, I love you," where do you feel that in your body? Is it heavy or light? Open or closed? Words carry energy that not only affect our own bodies, they also affect the world around us. Who hasn't heard of the research done with words and plants? The plants spoken to with words of love thrived, while the plants spoken to with words of hatred failed to thrive. Our words carry energy. Scripture says, "What you say can preserve life or destroy it, so you must accept the consequences of your words." Muscle testing is a tool that responds to subtle energy changes. Words create subtle energy changes, both positive and negative. Muscle testing is just a way of tapping into the information that has been memory programmed within your brain and body. This programming is the result of all your life experiences and the meanings you assigned to them. I've already stressed the importance of practicing muscle testing. You can practice this form of muscle testing with anyone who is willing to let you push on their arm. Ask your subject to hold their arm out perpendicular to their body. Face them and use your hand to gently and firmly push down on their wrist as they resist you. You should notice a firm resistance against your push. This first push is just to take note of the feel of this individual's muscle resistance. Most people will show weakness when you touch the bridge of their nose as you muscle test their arm. Ask them to hold as an indicator that you are going to test and they can be ready to resist. Again, a normal, healthy person will simply be strong when tested. Introducing a bad memory or unwanted energies such as cigarette smoke will cause the flinching or muscle weakness. For beginner practitioners of EPT, it is helpful to establish rapport with your subject. Rapport is a way of balancing right and left brain hemispheres and aligning the energy of both the practitioner and the client. More experienced practitioners have a well-developed sense of establishing rapport with their clients, and they may only use this rapport technique of establishing rapport the first time they see the client. Establishing rapport or congruency between client and practitioner. Place one green magnet pad, North Pole, on each side of your client's head above the ears. Holding the magnets in place, gently squeeze your hands together as you and your client inhale together. Release pressure while you and your client both exhale. Repeat 3 times. Holding the magnets in place, shift your fingers, placing one just above the nose bridge and one just below the notch on the back of your client's head. Holding this position, lift your fingers up while you and your client inhale. Stop lifting as you and your client exhale. Repeat a total of 3 times. Here are some tips for muscle testing. When muscle testing, push gently and firmly on the wrist area of your client. Begin by testing for normal muscle strength first. Do this by just pushing on your client's arm to see normal strength and resistance. Next, test for muscle weakness by touching your pointer finger to the bridge of your client's nose while testing the muscle with your other hand. This gives you an indication of your client's testability. If no weakness is noticed, you can increase this client's reactivity by briskly rubbing the center of the top of your client's head with your fingers for 15 seconds. Or you can reestablish rapport, or you could ask your client to verbally agree to be tested. The practitioner says, "Will you agree to be tested?" And the client says, "Yes, I agree to be tested." Now, Form 2 of muscle testing is using your own muscle to test. You may use your own muscle to test the client's pattern of body reactivity. This form of muscle testing can be used with a client present or remotely, such as a phone consultation. Use your own fingers as the gauge to measure the reactivity taking place in the client's body and energy field. Use your own middle finger pushing down on your own index finger to test. Keeping the index finger straight, use your middle finger to lightly push down on your index finger of the same hand. The index finger becoming easier to push down indicates a weakening of the muscle or a flinch in the body systems. The smooth and sticky test. A second way you may self-test is called the smooth and sticky test. This test is done by rubbing the index finger and thumb back and forth repeatedly. When the muscles are strong and coordinated, this action feels smooth as the finger and the thumb easily glide back and forth over each other. When the muscles are weak or flinching, there is a rubbing or sticking feeling as you rub back and forth. In this test, smooth equals a strong muscle response and sticky equals a weak muscle response. You can practice and test your accuracy with smooth and sticky muscle testing using focused thoughts. Write down 2 of your most pleasurable experiences. Focus your mind on one at a time. Your muscle test should be strong. Next, write down 2 of your most stressful life experiences. Focus on one at a time. If you notice muscle weakness with these thoughts, it indicates there is still trapped emotional energy in your body from these life experiences. When you hold trapped emotional energy, you will always react the same way you did when the response was programmed by the experience. Bob was suffering depression that started after a divorce and the subsequent loss of his family as he knew it to be. 3 years in counseling and psychotherapy failed to uncover how the loss of his family life, not the divorce, was the trigger that opened up trapped emotions from a childhood memory. His younger brother, Denny, was diagnosed with a critical disease that caused a loss of his family life when he was 14. Using muscle testing as a tool, I was able to gather information to identify exactly what emotions were trapped, when it happened, and what needed to be forgiven. After releasing this trapped emotional energy, Bob immediately felt relief. He was able to enjoy his life again and accept the changes in his family. Muscle testing can be used to determine whether a statement is in harmony with the body and mind, true, or in disharmony with the body-mind, false. A true statement will usually test strong. A false statement will usually test weak. While this is generally reliable, sometimes there are statements that are actually true but cause a weakness or flinching. For example, a person who is obese may want to fall apart or cry when she states, "I am fat." Even though it is true, there's a flinching that occurs when it is stated, and the muscle will go weak. This trapped emotional energy was probably rooted in an experience where her mother told her, "You are fat." It broke her heart then, and it is still breaking her heart now. By identifying and releasing the trapped emotional energy, she can actually create new life experiences. Without all the trapped sadness, depression, and hopelessness putting her right back into obesity habits and experiences, she can notice she is fat and make a decision to do what is necessary to lose the weight. Muscle testing can also be used to ask yes and no questions. Since being strong is the baseline, a weak muscle response is a noticeable event to indicate that you are warm, correct, or right on the money. When you say the statement, "My eyes are blue," and that is correct, you test strong. When you ask a question, "What color are my eyes? Are they brown?" and you test, "Are they green?" Test, "Are they blue?" Test, you will test strong to brown and green. You will test weak, the only way your body can indicate a noticeable response, to blue, because your eyes are blue. Muscle testing general rules. A true statement will usually test strong. Some true statements, if sufficiently emotionally charged, will test weak. A false statement will usually test weak. Some false statements, if you are balanced to them, will test strong. When asking a question, strong muscle is equal to a no response, meaning no. A weak muscle is equal to response, meaning yes. The concept of two-pointing is another tool. Muscle testing is systematically used with the concept of two-pointing. Two-pointing is a system that allows the body to tell us exactly what it needs for strengthening via muscle response testing. The concept of two-pointing is utilized in many holistic techniques that use muscle testing. Two-pointing is a way of using muscle testing to ask the body what it needs to correct or balance a problem. Emotional polarity technique uses two-pointing to confirm with the body and mind that emotional healing will help. This tool is used in Step 1, Focus, and is also incorporated in Step 2, Find It. It is called two-pointing because point 1, the thought, the pain, or weak body area, causes the muscle to test weak, and point 2 counterbalances point 1's weakness, causing the weak muscle to be strong. Two-pointing is done by first locating a point of weakness. For example, a person has low back pain. Ask him to touch the area or think about his low back pain. The practitioner muscle tests as he is thinking about the problem. The muscle tests weak. This weakness is point 1 in two-pointing. Point 2 in two-pointing occurs when the EPT practitioner contacts the forehead with the palm of her hand. It's sort of like asking the body if emotional healing will help the back pain. The emotional points covered on the forehead counter the low back weakness, so now with the forehead contacted, the muscle is strong. Two-pointing involves touching point 1, the problem. The muscle goes weak. The client continues to touch or think about the problem, making the muscle response weak. The EPT practitioner touches the forehead, point 2. If the weak muscle response becomes strong, then it means that supporting emotions will have a positive healing effect on the problem. This action of two-pointing also serves to immediately cause the brain and unconscious mind to access the hidden memory files associated with this problem. I will explain this more fully in the next chapter. For knowledge seekers, 2-pointing example 1, the client has low back pain. 1. The client touches the area of pain, point 1. Next, you muscle test the client and the muscle test weak. 2-point hand over the client's forehead, that's point 2. Muscle test the client and the muscle test strong. When point 2 counters the weakness of point 1 with a strong muscle response, it means there is a hidden memory trapped with trapped emotion that can be discovered and released, and the brain is ready to access the hidden memory file. 2-pointing example 2. A client has bad feelings about her boss. The client thinks or focuses on her boss and the bad feelings. That's point 1. You muscle test the client and the muscle test weak. 2-point your hand over the client's forehead. That's point 2. Muscle test the client and the muscle test strong. The next tool is subjective units of distress scale, or SUDS. In measuring a client's level of physical and emotional discomfort, this can be a helpful tool to demonstrate change based on subjective evaluation. An evaluation procedure can be used that rates subjective units of distress. Emotional polarity technique clients come in with all kinds of problems that are causing them stress. Chronic health problems, relationship problems, business problems, and all manner of pain, both physical and emotional, can be helped with EPT. By using the Suds evaluation procedure, the client and the practitioner can measure and document improvement in stress and pain levels. Before treatment and after treatment, the client is asked to rate their level of discomfort distress using a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most painful or distressful. The goal of the EPT practitioner is to lower the Suds number to 0 or as close to 0 as possible. If you can get the number down to 2 or 3, it will probably continue to lower on its own over the next week. Muscle testing can serve as an alternative to asking for the patient to rate SUDS for themselves. Just mentally ask the body to rate SUD. Count as you test the arm. 1, test, 2, test, 3, test, etc. The body will respond to the correct number with a weak muscle. The next tool in EPT are the charts. We have the body points chart, the emotion guide, and decision tree. There are 3 basic charts used in emotional polarity technique. They are the body points chart, the Pegboard Polarity Emotion Guide chart, and the flow chart or decision tree chart. Since practitioners place magnets over actual body organs, this chart, the body points chart, is designed to help you to locate the approximate location of each organ. Some body organs overlap and some are smaller than the 4x2-inch magnet pad that is typically used in EPT. For example, you will notice that the stomach and the bladder points are smaller than the liver, spleen, pancreas, lung, colon, and heart point. The small intestine reflex point is used because it may be difficult to actually locate and cover the small intestines without overlapping other organs. Using the body glands chart. A few glands not represented in the organ chart, but that can be tested with magnets are pineal, pituitary, thyroid, adrenal, and gonads, ovaries, and testicles. The following chart explains where these glands are located for testing. The pineal is on the very top of the head. Pituitary is in the center of the forehead, also known as the third eye. The thyroid is in the center of the throat on the front of the neck. The adrenals directly above each kidney point. Adrenals rest on top of each kidney. Ovaries, one on either side of the bladder, close to the pubic bone. Testicles, you can use the same points as ovaries, or you can place the magnet directly over the testicles. Most physical emotional reaction occurs in the gut area of our bodies, so organs rather than glands can be measured more easily with magnets. This physical emotional reaction is usually felt by the person having it and is sometimes called a gut-wrenching experience. Now, you will find all these charts in my book, The Forgiveness Doctor. You can find how to purchase that at www.theforgivenessdoctor.com. The Pegboard Chart. This is a chart designed to help you determine what emotion is trapped in the body that is anchoring an old memory influencing your client's current feelings and behavior. This chart is based on acupuncture knowledge. Those who practiced and developed acupuncture also observed that specific emotions are related to particular meridians. The meridians relate to the specific body areas, including organs and glands. If a person had an overabundance or underabundance of a specific emotion, balancing the energy flow of the related body meridian could restore a person's emotional well-being. The Pegboard chart is organized with the most common organ weaknesses at the top: liver, heart, stomach, kidney, and lung. The columns list the organs that operate in the same energy meridian according to Chinese medicine. The emotions anger, resentment, lost and vulnerable, abandon, disgust, low self-esteem, fear, miffed, grief, and rigid, listed directly under the organs, are the most common stuck emotions. The emotions listed with bullet points are less commonly stuck emotions. At the bottom of the chart are positive emotions used to install new positive affirming beliefs. The following chart, the Energy Meridian Emotion Chart, represents known acupuncture meridians and their related emotions. So the energy meridian would be represented by the organ or the gland. Kidney, fear. Bladder, miffed. Heart, overjoyed. Liver, anger. Small intestine, lost and vulnerable. Thyroid, muddled thinking. Sex, instability, non-thinking. Gallbladder, resentment. Lung, grief. Large intestine, rigid. Stomach, disgust. Spleen, low self-esteem. Cooper and Sawaf, in the book Executive EQ, Emotional Intelligence in Leadership and Organizations, state, neuroscientists are confirming that what's happening in the brain is also active in the gut, and the central nervous system is connecting the two together. So emotion influences and activates key reasoning processes in the brain. Emotional polarity technique uses muscle testing and the Pegboard chart to determine what emotion or emotions trapped in the body memory. In the next chapter, I will explain further how this is done. Memories are anchored in the brain with emotional energy. The way you felt when your mom left your dad is central to the meaning you give the memory and the way your brain will perceive future life experiences. Emotions give us insight into the part of ourselves that integrates our beliefs into our behavior. In EPT, emotion is the doorway. It allows you to identify lingering and hidden trauma that is trapped in the body and mind, blocking you from creating more of what you really want. It leads you to the freedom gained by releasing restrictive beliefs that are not in alignment with divine truth, and the knowledge of your true beliefs, those that are in alignment with divine truth and those that are not. Emotion is the starting point. The end result is the transforming of limiting beliefs into limitless beliefs that align with divine truth. Aligning your beliefs with divine truth expands your freedom to experience giving and receiving love without limitation. The natural result of this freedom is better health, greater happiness, more success, and increased spiritual awareness. In EPT, tools are used to find hidden memories that are keeping you from having a better life experience. When you Google something, you are looking for more information to help you understand something. When you apply EPT to a life problem, you are also looking for more information to help you understand something. You are trusting that the body and brain have stored it all away like a hidden treasure. This hidden memory is found in the form of a statement. The flow chart or decision tree chart is used with muscle testing in the construction of a statement that describes a hidden memory. Specifically, this chart is used to determine who or what is at the root of your bad feelings or pain. It is usually a who in your life that causes the most pain or stress. Let's face it, things are just things. It's people who fail to meet our expectations that make us crazy and unbalanced. We are wired to be in relationships that give us support, love, and community. When it is a what that is at the root of your bad feelings, it will usually end up back to a who. The constructed statement will always contain a who, a person, a what, a thing, or a specific emotion, anger, grief, an original time, age 7, you felt this, and why you felt this way. So again, a constructed statement will always contain a who or a what, a specific emotion, an original time, and why you felt this way. An example of a constructed statement that represents a hidden memory might be, at age 7, I felt anger and grief with my mom because she divorced my dad. Once you have all these tools in your kit, you will be ready to implement the EPT Emotional Healing Formula. Step 1, focus. You must place your attention on the problem you want to change. It is helpful to rate the problem using the Suds. Step 2, find it. With muscle testing and the organ and flow charts, you can quickly identify the stored memory, including the exact age this emotional scarring took place. Step 3, fix it. Once you have identified the exact memory, there are many ways to change the body's response to that memory. Tapping is the most widely used tools to do this. In contrast with EPT, we change the body's response with brief placement of magnets, along with simple body and breath work. Step 4, forgive it. In EPT, we would never open the door to an old memory without knowing in advance through a method like EPT that a healing adjustment could be made. That adjustment consists of shining the light to reveal what can be forgiven right now. As always, you can subscribe to this podcast, like us on Facebook, and go get your free training at eptworks.com. I'm Dr. Annette Cargioli, the Forgiveness Doctor. Until next time, listen, love, give. EPT works.